Alright, so obviously it's a little early and a little bit of recency bias, but this has to be one of the craziest RosterManias in recent memory. I can't believe the amount, the severity, and the craziness of changes that we are seeing play out in real time. It feels like there's been no rest for the past week, which is news coming at us from literally everywhere. So much so that this video was just going to be talking about Heroic being bought out by Falcons, Cloud9 self-destructing, IC going to Virtus Pro, and Flamus confirmed to go to Virtus Pro as well. And while I was making this video, it came out of nowhere. The nuclear bomb of the offseason, Elige, is in advanced talks to go to Faze. I was correct! And considering how this RosterMania is currently going, I'm going to be finishing this video and more unreal news is going to drop. So make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, because I'm going to be covering all the RosterMania news as it drops. My name is LionHeartZ, welcome back to the channel, and before we get started, let's go ahead and thank today's sponsor. That's right, this video is sponsored by SkinClub. They are one of the most popular case opening sites in Counter-Strike with over 100 custom cases backed by its provably fair system, meaning that as long as you are not me, you have a fair shot at unboxing something awesome.
Nice.
But it's not just regular unboxings. You can compete in case opening battles with other users, the boys in between that next us 2 match, or privately with bots where you can either team up 2v2 to split the winnings, or try your luck to win the entire pot if you hit the best item. Or, if risk scares you, and it does for me, you can toggle sharing mode to split the winnings evenly amongst the group. But that's not all. SkinClub runs monthly events for you to win unique prizes, free daily cases for a little extra cheddar on top, and if you don't like the skins you hit, you can always try a little cheeky upgrade to find something you do like. If you want to play on SkinClub, you can click the top link in the description for a 7% deposit bonus and top off your account with credit card, crypto, or even deposit skins directly from your inventory. Lastly, please don't gamble if you are under 18, live in a country or jurisdiction that restricts gambling, and most importantly, don't gamble to make money. Play for fun with money you are okay to lose. Gambling addiction is very real, and if you or a loved one are having problems in the US or Canada, you can reach out to this hotline, 1-800-GAMBLER, toll-free to get help. Addiction is an illness, and I want you to be healthy and safe. Thank you to SkinClub for sponsoring this video, and with that, let's get back to it. Alright, let's just start with the Elige news, because for me, it literally happened like 5 minutes ago when I'm recording this video, so it's the most fresh in my mind. Elige to Faze was my first suggestion in my recent video talking about what's next for the Superstar NA Rifler. And I understand that the roles are definitely going to conflict. He does not play the same spots that Rops does, but I simply do not care. Elige is a top 3 rifler in the world, at worst top 5. He's a definitive top 10 player for this year, and one of the very best players in Counter-Strike. You will make him work, and there's nobody in the history of CSGO or CS2 better at making things work with the pieces given to him than fucking Kerrigan. I have full confidence that Kerrigan will cook up some diabolical rosters to make Elige as effective as he possibly can be. And again, I stand by the fact that 1, Faze still have some room to move. They could move Frozen or Brokey, that's still very much on the cards. And 2, Rain is a very adaptable, very team-first player. Rain could 100% step back to play some of the roles that they're lacking to enable Elige and Frozen to maintain their aggressive status on the T sides. I think that's 100% in the cards. If there's any team that's going to make it work despite the role conflicts, it's Faze, and it's because of Kerrigan. Straight up, I love this move because I love all these players. I'm 100% biased, I cannot lie. On paper though, it's a great move for Faze's firepower in 2025. There's still some question marks, especially around Brokey as a main opper, but still, considering how bad it looked for Rops to just step away a few days ago with no notice, no get back for Faze, this is as powerful as a signing as Faze could have made to replace that slot. And I'm 100% ready to start phasing the fuck up in 2025. Now, a brief note on complexity. I think this is definitely the mark of complexity downsizing or retooling, especially with Floppy heading to the bench. I think that's just kind of a reality. It didn't seem like complexity were going to be in a position to be big spenders in this offseason to put the kind of championship team that Elige needs around him. And while I'm sad because I really like Jason Lake and I like complexity as an organization, I do have a lot of respect for the fact that they did not put any barriers in Elige's way. They played player first from beginning to end, and when Elige got an offer that was more tempting for his career status, complexity did not stop him from pursuing that, and that gets my utmost respect and well wishes for them as they move in to find a roster to compete in next year. Alright, next up, let's talk about the first of 2 rosters being disintegrated by this RosterMania, and that's Cloud9. Sources were reporting this morning that Cloud9 are actually looking to disband, and no one knows as of yet if this is a larger move for them to move out of Counter-Strike, which would be awful, or if they're simply downsizing to a smaller lineup in 2025 for cost measures. I certainly hope it's the latter. If anything, I would like to see Cloud9 return to a North American organization and field a roster from North America. And most of all, I just want Cloud9 to stay in Counter-Strike. They're one of the endemic orgs. They've been around for as long as I've been watching Counter-Strike, and it's hard to imagine a landscape with no Cloud9 presence whatsoever. So hopefully this is not a situation where they are looking to back out of Counter-Strike entirely, and it's just a step towards moving to some kind of different lineup formulation. But what does this mean practically for those players who were just released? Well, first off, we have confirmed moves for both Icy and HeavyGod. Starting off with Icy, he is moving to Virtus Pro and is going to be taking up the op role that James has just abdicated. We talked a lot about yesterday how I thought that filling up James' role was going to be pretty difficult. Icy was one of those names that I had thought would be possible, and seeing him go I think is a good move for Virtus Pro. When I look at their roster now, with the confirmed move of Flamus now being official, the firepower on paper for Virtus Pro is actually quite high. Having Flamus, Electronic, Flit, Fame, and Icy, this team is nothing short of loaded with great players. The big problem is that Electronic is certainly going to be the in-game leader, at least for a little bit of the season, because right now Virtus Pro are on the knife's edge. They need to maintain 3 players in their core to maintain all of their Valve ranking points from last year. So if they move another player to bring in an in-game leader, they'd have to start from scratch, which would be quite the daunting process. So in some respects, everything that I could have wanted out of Virtus Pro rebuild has happened. They've gotten younger and more aggressive. But on the other side, our greatest nightmares have just been fulfilled because Electronic has to lead the show, at least in the interim, and I absolutely hate that. You add on to it the fact that the roles in this team are by no means set. There's still nobody who's going to take up Norbert's support role on this team. That's going to make things even more interesting. Who on this team is going to be willing to take a step back? Because in my mind, it shouldn't be Flamus, it shouldn't be Electronic, and it certainly can't be Icy as he's the op. So someone out of Flit or Fame who has never played those support roles is going to have to step up to make the cohesion work on this team. On one hand, Virtus Pro look really deadly on paper. On the other hand, it's the same old shape of Virtus Pro that's been for these last few years. God knows they are going to disappoint me in whole new ways with this lineup. Now, I am absolutely willing to be wrong on that because once again, the names on this team definitely impress. But who the hell knows what this Virtus Pro team will look like? It could literally be anything at this point. Also, a small addendum, can we get a moment of silence, some well wishes to one of my Discord members, B1, who is GamerLegion's strongest soldier, has been one of their biggest advocates for me throughout the major process, and is currently on life support after hearing the recent roster news. It definitely disappoints me that GamerLegion weren't allowed to cook longer. Ash continues to have pieces taken away from him too soon, but hey, at least at this point, Ash has a record of taking out of nowhere talent straight to a major, so there's that I guess. Anyways, the other confirmed move from the Cloud9 core is HeavyGod is going to G2. And once again, I really like this move on paper, except for the fact that G2 seem to be committing once again to the Snacks IGL experiment, at least as of right now. In terms of just adding HeavyGod onto this core of players, putting HeavyGod with m0NESY and Malbs I think makes a lot of sense. Malbs can step in to take Nico's spots, HeavyGod comes in to play that star anchor role, and then you have m0NESY being m0NESY. I think in terms of firepower, this 3-man unit is incredibly elite. You have Hunter, who's kind of this utility, support, flex player who can still have moments of popping off, though I don't know where his motivation is going to lie without his cousin on the team, and then you have Snacks being Snacks. This roster is just screaming for an actual in-game leader to be something really exciting. I just can't imagine them doing anything significant with Snacks at the helm. That's just the reality. If you put anyone, Snappy, Hooksy, I don't care, literally anyone with a pulse who can speak English and knows how to call more strats than just go A, will make this G2 team more exciting. So honestly, I think this is a pretty good move from G2. HeavyGod is going to be a great pickup for them, and while Malbs could never replace Nico fully, he's going to do a damn good approximation of the job. Now, for the other remaining Cloud9 members, there has yet been no word in terms of Inters or Perfecto, but there is a rumored move for Boomage and Axile. There is no HLTV report to confirm this yet, so take it with a pinch of salt, but it would appear that BetBoom are in talks with Axile and Boomich. No idea who they would be taking over in terms of that roster, but at least Boomich is going to continue to be in a team playing in tournaments in 2025, and honestly, I hope he can make the jump to a more legitimate organization, because as I've said many times, I think Boomich is a legit great in-game leader and deserves that opportunity. But don't worry guys, there's still more news to cover, and this is arguably the biggest change of the day so far. Falcons are currently in talks to buy out the heroic core of Kixan, Tessus, and Dexter, making their roster in 2025 Magisk, Nico, Kixan, Dexter, Tessus. Now let's take this one at a time. I am incredibly disappointed that it feels like Heroic were just turning the corner into building a true championship level team. We just saw them peak at the major, eliminating Na'Vi, nearly eliminating G2. Who knows, they might have even taken FaZe to task and made a potential grand finals. The path was there for them. They were a team that excited me immensely going into 2025, easily a top 10 team in the world, and I was hoping to God they would get the chance to cook before getting picked apart. But no, nerds to Liquid, this core to Falcons, Shush literally left alone with no roster around him. What kind of bullshit is this, dude? It's the thing that pisses off me the most about the state of our scene, where no matter who you are, no matter how good the team is, there's nothing you can do in the face of shit tons of money. According to Overdrive, this is the single biggest transfer ever at a rumored $10 million for these three players. How can a team like Heroic refuse that kind of money? And only because of Falcons' ties to the goddamn Saudi Arabian government are they able to throw that kind of money around. Heroic would be some of the dumbest businessmen to ever exist to turn down that kind of money. And that's what infuriates me, because we couldn't see this roster continue. It's now been shredded before it ever got started, and that makes me sad. On the other note, in terms of the team that Falcon could have built around Nico, I do think this team will be good. Will it be good enough to win a major? I have no idea. I think that the potential is there, but I would by no means consider this a major favorite team, nor a top 5 team in the world. It feels like Heroic's ceiling, unless they advanced over the offseason, was that kind of prototypical dark horse placement where they were very good and they would challenge the best teams, but would need to be on quite the heater to overcome them. And while Shush is definitely nowhere near as good as Nico, I would argue that NeRTZ is definitely better than Magisk. So on paper, if you were to look at this as Heroic acquiring Nico and Magisk, I would say that's an upgrade. If you're looking at it as Nico trying to build a major winning roster around him, I would say this is a downgrade from what G2 had around him. It just really does make me sad to see tier 2 orgs be fodder for the big boys in the industry, and that's something that probably won't change, but it doesn't mean that I don't hate it with every fiber of my being, least of all because Falcons continue to inflate the scene in such a way with how much money they're throwing around. Whatever, Nico has chosen the bag over the major, at least that's my read on the situation. We'll have to see how it plays out. Alright guys, there's definitely more roster news that came out today, but a lot of it was either teams that I don't really care about, or stuff that can't really be confirmed yet, so keep an eye on the channel for more news hitting your way as soon as it's confirmed by reputable sources. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Thank you to SkinClub for sponsoring this video. If you want a 7% deposit bonus, click the link in the description and make sure you gamble safe and responsibly. Thank you to SkinClub. Shout out to my channel members Justin, Jesse, Furley, Bubblesj, Milan Berta, Dr. Cocktor, and Patates Köftesi. If you want to support me directly, you can do so at the link in the description down below. $5 a month. Get your name at the end of the videos, get you an exclusive role in my Discord community, all that good stuff. Thank you so much. I don't even know if I already said it, but like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Woo! RosterMania, baby! Let's go! Next video, please.